Anahita Rao, back again. So today I wanted to discuss the big eclipses taking place this month. First, let's talk about the solar eclipse in Purva Ashada, which takes place January the 6th, 2019. And then we'll get into the lunar eclipse. Now, the thing to remember about eclipses generally is that every 8 to 9 years, we will have an eclipse that will affect us very personally because it will touch our moon, sun, or ascendant. Some eclipses are more intense than others, and so their impact lasts a lot longer. And results and changes can show up to 1 year after the eclipse takes place. But generally, there is a 6-month window where the changes take place and you will see the effects show up in your life. The one thing that I always advise is do not make any decisions the week before or the week after an eclipse. It's best to reflect at this time. In fact, the strong energy at this time is great for any sort of regular spiritual practice or sadhana in your life, because it will help you reflect and go inward, which is what the eclipses are asking you to do, especially the new moon solar eclipses. It's very important to do that then. All eclipses are intense, of course, but the greatest impact is when Rahu and Ketu are in signs of the luminaries, either the sun or the moon, because they tend to misbehave the worst over there. Impact is a little bit more sober if they're positioned well, as they will behave much better. This is also similar to Saturn or any other malefic. If it is stronger, then it gives you less of the negative. So malefics will behave better generally if they are stronger. Now this eclipse is caused by Ketu, the south node, who is still further away though from Sagittarius. It's still in Capricorn, which is why it's called a partial eclipse. The eclipse takes place on January the 6th at approximately 2 a.m. GMT. So it depends on where in the world you are. It could be the 5th or the 6th. Saturn will form a close conjunction with the sun and moon in this eclipse as well. Mercury will also be a part of it, but further away, nearly about 15 degrees. And this affects Gemini and Sagittarius quite directly, of course, or those who have planets, personal planets, in these signs, as I mentioned. So with this eclipse, it takes place in the nakshatra of Purva Ashada at 21 degrees in the 3rd pada, also ruled by Venus. So if you've got any planets there, then of course 2019 is going to bring a lot of changes your way because there's so much going on in Purva Ashada. Now let's talk a little bit about Purva Ashada. It supports the following activities: facing issues which require courage, confronting enemies and opposition, reconciliations and forgiveness, settling debts, adventures of all kinds, especially ones dealing with water and sport, traveling over water, any activities connected to water, worshipping any female goddess, and of course spiritual occult type of initiations or practices. It's also very favorable nakshatra for marriage and romantic relationships. Now here with Saturn so close by, I would say to make plans in these areas, but perhaps wait to act till Saturn leaves, or at least until the end of the year when Jupiter enters Sagittarius. But of course, issues related to Purva Ashada and what it represents in your chart and what Sagittarius represents are going to come to the surface. It may have been things that you have neglected that you will finally have to deal with. If you are just now meeting someone new in your life or getting involved with someone new, then I would say take things very slow and you will have a better chance of success. Purva Ashada is also associated with battle and war. But if you start a fight you will likely lose because of Saturn's presence here. So better to lay low and reflect. I think it would be more wise to use Mercury's presence here, which of course is further away from the eclipse, but it's still in Sagittarius. Because with Mercury, you can negotiate and talk your way out of it rather than forcing any issues and forcing a fight, which the outcome will not result in your favor due to Saturn's presence. And of course, as we know, Ketu will also soon join that spot. It would also be a good time to initiate a new project or business because Saturn gives you the resilience to stay the course and see it grow. Now at this eclipse, we have Venus transiting in Anuradha. So there's going to be what's called a Sukshma Parivartan Yoga between Saturn and Venus, as they will be in each other's nakshatra. So that's basically sort of an exchange of energy. And what it does is it strengthens the position of both the planets and their ability to deliver results. So whatever Saturn represents in your chart and whatever Venus represents in your chart can experience growth around the time of this eclipse. For instance, let's say you're Leo Lagna, then Saturn is your 7th lord and Venus is your 10th lord. So for example, if you formed a business partnership with someone, you could see success as Venus is transiting in your 4th house of comforts and Saturn in your lucky 5th house. Or you could be a Taurus Lagna and Saturn is your Yogic planet representing the 9th and 10th houses, whereas Venus is your Lagna lord. So it would be a great time to start a higher education, a spiritual practice, even a new career. But just be mindful of the Ketu and Saturn conjunction coming up during the summer months, which can cause disturbances in these areas. So although it's a good time to initiate, but just factor in some changes that may come your way in these areas in the summer months. Yeah. With Taurus Lagna, as I mentioned, if it's representing your 9th and 10th house, although it's a Yogarka planet, Saturn, it is transiting currently in your 8th house. So again, you could experience unexpected twists and turns in whatever you do start. So be prepared for that. So as you can see, there are some blessings with this eclipse, but then there's also a lot of caution as well because of what's coming up. I've written a detailed monthly forecast on my website, which is posted there. So if you want to read more about this eclipse, then have a look there. It's anahitarao.com. Thank you, folks. Cheers.